If you're an experienced PM and you want to level up to a group or principal PM level, usually known as L7 in companies like Google and Meta, here is how to know whether you're ready. There's two things to cover here. First is, are you ready for the interview for the L7 PM level? And the second one is, are you ready for the actual job? Last week, I was speaking with a student at PCA, and the question was, am I ready for L7? Which at Google, it means group PM. Usually you lead a team. There's a few other elements about the role that I'm going to get into, that this person was asking, am I ready for it? And you may be asking the same thing. Are you ready to do the job? Are you ready to actually get through the interviews? How can you tell if you're ready? So let's walk through some of this. Let me define the scope a little bit. There's a few defining characteristics about this level, group principal PM level. You can think of it as two things. The first one is people management, leadership. Most PMs lead cross-functional teams. You can have even junior PMs that are leading 10, 20, 25 people as a cross-functional team leader. But as an L7 group PM, you would also have PMs directly report to you, which means that you would give them ratings, you would assign them roles and scope, you would design your org around them to fit into the rest of the things that your team is doing and your broader org is doing. And you would be responsible for their headcount. You'd be responsible for their career progression and everything that is associated with that. You're their direct report. So people management is the first aspect. The second one is that it is a move from tactical to strategic, whereas junior PMs spend a lot of time on the ground, so to speak, actually implementing some of these things, making sure that there's execution within the broader team. And L7 group PM is more focused on the strategic aspects. How does this look on a multi-quarter, multi-year roadmap? Who do you need to align in order to make sure that we can continue executing on this from a department or org perspective? And what's the overall vision? What's the vision that we're pitching senior leadership? What's the vision for the users, for our partners, for our team members, etc.? And the focus of the group PM is primarily on that, guiding the vision, making sure that everybody's aligned, making sure that both above and below are aligned with what we need to do. Above meaning the leaders, the execs, and below meaning all the folks that are reporting to you, and also all of the cross-functional teams and the people that report to them. Really, those are the big two spectrums that you need to think about when you're thinking about the higher level: people management and strategy. Aside from that, there's one more area, which is the profit and loss ownership, P&L ownership, but you can think of it more as a business component. This means that as a group PM, you are responsible for running your unit like a business. You're going to have a revenue or profit, things that come into your business. You're going to have certain costs or headcount that are expenses for the business, and you're responsible for owning the profitability of that whole business unit. And later, you're going to use these skills as a general manager, director, senior director, where you might have a situation where not only product, but engineers actually report to you, and you're still responsible for the entire business unit. So first, ask yourself, how much people management experience do I have? Have I ever led a team? Probably the answer is yes, you have led a team, but have you ever had direct reports? How close to a direct report relationship did you get? Sometimes you might have people that are rotators or people that are temporarily involved in your team that you're responsible for. You could be a dotted line report, or rather someone else could have been a dotted line report to you, meaning they have their own manager, but they still report to you with respect to the project or product that you own. So think about where you've gotten a chance to be a people manager. Think about the aspects of the work. There's the org planning. That means what exactly is every team member that reports to you doing? What are they responsible for? How do you pitch that as a compelling overall vision to your lead, the director or general manager? There's the performance review part of the job. These are your direct reports. So you're going to have to be responsible for their performance reviews, for their check-ins, basically for maintaining their career, also helping them grow if you're a good manager. So ask yourself, how much of this have you already done? And that's going to give you a good indication of how comfortable you might be doing this going forward. Then the same question for the tactical to strategic. I'm sure you've got experience shipping and executing and getting things launched. How much experience setting the overall vision or a long-term multi-year roadmap do you have? That's going to be the other component. And then finally, the P&L, the business side of it. Have you ever had to be responsible for a profitability of a business? As PMs, we usually are in some capacity, but this would mean you yourself are thinking about where revenue is coming from, where the costs are coming from, how can you raise one and cut the other, and you're presenting that and then explaining your request for headcount reduction or increase based on that P&L. So think of pitching on an annual plan. Hey, we need this headcount in order to do this initiative, that project, this launch, so that our revenue or our cost structure or our business model changes and we can deliver something for the business. And that'll tell you whether you're ready to do the job itself. However, the interview is a little bit different. There's a few aspects to how you think about the behavioral interview where you have to demonstrate these things. Again, people management and substantial volume, org design, that's where you're designing the scope of work to be done, and strategic planning and execution. You will have to demonstrate those things in the interview a little bit deeper than if you were just doing it at the L6 level. It's a bit of a chicken and egg problem, just like everything else in product management. You can't really get these skills until you do them, but you can't really do the job until you get the skills. So at some point, something's got to give. You're going to have to jump into the deep end. If you understand the concepts of what we're talking about, then you can figure it out. You just have to trust yourself to be able to figure it out on the job. It's more about really knowing kind of the pitfalls to avoid. And I'll do a separate video talking about how to do well in your first L7 job in a big tech company, because there's a few specific things that you can avoid that might really cause some problems, speaking from experience on this one. If you're looking for your next product management role, we'd be happy to chat with you. The Product Career Accelerator helps proactive experienced PMs, hopefully like you, get into the next top paid big tech role. You can find a link in the description and schedule time to talk with our team if this is interesting. Thanks very much. See you next time.